Welcome to the second unit of 6th grade Social Studies. The name of that unit is Human Geography. Whereas in the first unit, much of what you did had to do with the planet, Earth, things like longitude and latitude and map elements, landforms, various things like that. One thing that we didn't discuss in Unit 1 was how people are affected by the Earth. In the second unit, maybe you can kind of tell by this image that this is more about what we call human geography, how the planet impacts people and their behavior. So feel free to pause this video at any time. I encourage you to rewatch the parts you need to. You can rewatch the entire video as many times as you need to. And make sure and reach out to me if you have any questions. The objective for this lesson is to explore ways the physical characteristics of the Earth influence human activities. By the end of this lesson, you should be able to do that. And throughout the lesson, you will learn physical characteristics. And again, how those physical characteristics have an influence on what we do. For the next few weeks, we will be studying the theme of human geography. This theme focuses on how humans affect the Earth and how the Earth affects humans. During our social studies lessons, we will learn about migration, immigration, climate, and population density. We will learn how to place dates on a timeline, identify urban and rural areas, and how to identify settlement patterns. Parents can help you improve your knowledge of human history by showing you a family tree or timeline. This is especially helpful if you have family records of immigrating to the United States. On the next slide, I will be giving you some directions. As I do, please prepare to pause between each step if you need to. As usual, be careful to follow the directions exactly. Okay, so we have a graphic organizer here. I know it's a little bit tough to see, but I'll be going over this with you. Right here will be the directions. Again, if you need to pause in between each of the directions, do that. First, please get a piece of paper, pencil, and some colored pencils or markers. Go ahead and pause the video and grab those supplies and hit play when you have those. The next step, copy the image to the left as largely and as neatly as you can on the paper. Pause the video while you do this. Before you start, you'll see this says Physical Features, 4 drawings, 3 short facts. Down here it says Climate, 4 drawings, 3 short facts. Here, you might need to turn your head. It says Natural Resources, 4 drawings, 3 short facts. And over here it says Natural Hazards, 4 drawings, 3 short facts. And in the center it says Earth's Physical Characteristics. If you have trouble seeing these, you can just kind of draw the boxes here. And in the next slide, I'll show you these a little bit larger. Just make sure and copy this down as neatly as you can now. As you continue with the video, you will be writing 3 short facts about each topic right in the space that goes with the topic. Physical features will be up here, natural resources in here, and so on. And they can be anywhere in here. They shouldn't take up too much space. They should be short facts because you will also be drawing 4 small sketches showing you understand each topic. So as you learn about physical features, you'll have the short facts, and then up here, anywhere in here, you will have 4 small drawings that represent what you learned here. Start off with a regular pencil in case you need to erase. Then go over with colored pencils. Color is required. When you are done this, you will simply take a picture of it and submit that to It's Learning. You can't submit it yet, but when I create the link for you to submit it, that'll be in a couple days, that's what you'll do. You will be graded on whether the information is correct as well as the effort you put into this assignment. Please do your best work. At this point in the year, I'm pretty familiar with what each of you is capable of, and your grade will reflect the effort put into this. I am not grading you on how good your drawings are, but I do want to see your very best effort, and I will decide that. Moving on. Earth's physical characteristics. So right here, I'm going to show you those four labels. So if you need to see them a little closer. Earth's four physical characteristics are physical features, climate, natural resources, and natural hazards. And these, again, these are the headings that will go into the graphic organizer, just in case you weren't able to see them or you weren't able to spell them exactly correctly. Here they are. These are the four physical characteristics of the Earth. You will need to know this for a quiz later on. Okay, let's start with physical characteristics. All landforms are in this category. I know we did landforms in Unit 1, but in Unit 2, we're going to take a look at how landforms impact the way people behave. So here's a little image for you to take a look at. A lot of these terms you learned about last unit, land and water features, except in this unit, we're going to, again, look at how these things impact people. And I'm going to show you a short video on physical characteristics.
From space, the Earth looks like a deep blue disk because the deep blue sea covers 71% of the planet's surface. But what appears flat from afar reveals a dramatic landscape under the surface. Steep undersea canyons and deep trenches like the Mariana Trench in the Pacific, the deepest point in the ocean anywhere in the world, nearly 36,000 feet. That's deeper than the highest mountain on Earth is high. Mount Everest, which rises 29,000 feet above the border of Nepal and China. Everest is part of the Himalayan range, which has more than 30 mountains rising at least 24,000 feet. Kilimanjaro, at 19,000 feet, is part of a much smaller range, but is the highest peak in Africa. Africa does have the longest river in the world, the Nile, stretching for 4,145 miles. Only slightly shorter is the Amazon in South America, which actually carries more water than any other river on Earth. The Colorado River is known not for its length or volume, but for the creation of its current, the Grand Canyon, an abyss more than a mile deep. When it comes to uninterrupted vertical drop, the water flowing over Ribbon Falls in California's Yosemite National Park falls the furthest in North America, more than 1,600 feet.
Okay, so use the information in that video to fill in that part of the graphic organizer. Okay, the next physical characteristic is climate. Many people, kids and adults, confuse climate and weather. They are two very different things. Climate is an established pattern of weather over a long period of time. Weather is the day-to-day variations of the condition of the atmosphere. So, if you were to look on TV, your computer, your phone, and look at the weather, that would show you what the weather will be for 5 days, 10 days. You could even go back a month, even a year. That would be the weather. Climate are weather patterns over a long period of time. So climate would be 100, 1,000, 10,000 years of weather all studied together. Very, very important difference. Climate versus weather. Make sure you understand that. And to support that, I'm going to show you a short video. This is what you'll use to fill in your graphic organizer.
Take a look outside your window. Is it hot and sunny? Is it cloudy and rainy? Is there snow on the ground? When you look out the window, you're seeing what the weather is like today. Weather is only temporary. For example, a blizzard can turn into a flood after just a few warm spring days. Climate, on the other hand, is more than just a few warm or cool days. Climate describes the typical weather conditions in an entire region for a very long time, 30 years or more. Keeping an eye on changing weather can help us plan ahead. We know that if thunderclouds are forming overhead, it's probably a good idea to stay inside. But it's important to keep an eye on changes in Earth's climate, too. And NASA has observed that Earth is getting warmer. Keeping track of Earth's sea level is one way that we can know how quickly the climate is changing. As Earth's climate warms, ice in Antarctica and Greenland is melting. This causes the level of the oceans to rise. NASA satellites can measure sea level rise from space. They can also track changes in the climate by measuring the clouds. We know that changes in the number, size, or location of clouds could be caused by a change in Earth's climate. NASA satellites are always orbiting Earth, looking down at our oceans and clouds, and they monitor Earth's climate in other ways too. It's important to keep an eye on our planet and all the ways that it's changing. Right now, it's the only one we've got. Find out more about our Earth at NASA Climate Kids.
Okay, some pretty interesting stuff. The next one is natural resources. Natural resources, something as water, a mineral, forest, or kind of animal that is found in nature and is valuable to humans. Pretty simple. Anything found in nature that is valuable to humans. If it isn't found in nature, like a bank is valuable to humans, but it's not found in nature. That's man-made. Things found in nature that are valuable to humans are called natural resources. Here are just some examples. Obviously, water, trees, forests, rocks and minerals, animals. Many of you have explored the idea of natural resources in earlier grades, so hopefully this is a bit of a refresher. These are natural resources. You will need to know this.
Phew. It took me all day to move that topsoil. Dear Tim and Moby, I'm doing a report on natural resources. Is air considered a natural resource? From Marty. Well, natural resources include anything in nature that people value. Since the atmosphere contains the oxygen we breathe and the carbon dioxide that plants use for photosynthesis, I'd say that air qualifies as a natural resource. Well, there are lots of different kinds of natural resources. Like other organisms, we depend on clean water and air. And we use energy sources like fossil fuels, wood, wind, and sunlight for everything from running cars to powering entire cities. The Earth's crust contains valuable mineral resources like metals and other elements. Even plants and animals are natural resources. It's actually pretty amazing how much use we put our planet to. No, plastic isn't a natural resource because it doesn't occur on its own in nature. It's made from oil, though, which is a natural resource. Get it? People generally divide natural resources into two main categories, renewable and non-renewable. Renewable resources include any natural resource that can replenish itself or that has a seemingly unlimited supply. Fish and forests are renewable resources because they're both living things that can reproduce. The sun is considered a renewable source of energy because it's probably going to last into the distant future. Non-renewable resources include natural resources that are in limited supply or that take a long time to create. Fossil fuels and minerals fall into the category of non-renewable resources. There's only a certain amount of each on Earth at any time. No, just because a resource is renewable doesn't mean it can never run out. A forest can be chopped down much faster than it can regrow. And even though soil is produced naturally over time, soil erosion is a big problem for a lot of countries. Right, that's why it's important for people to take good care of our natural resources. It's easy to take renewable resources like air and water for granted, but pollution can quickly make our environment almost unlivable. That's why there's so much research going into renewable energy sources like wind, hydroelectricity, and solar power. They make more sense than fossil fuels because they'll never run out, and they don't pollute as much. Well, that's the idea behind conservation. Everyone can do their part to conserve or save our natural resources. At home, you can recycle all paper, plastic, and aluminum products. Easing up on the use of air conditioning and heating just a little bit saves money and fuel. And you can save a lot of water just by turning off the faucet while you brush your teeth. This soil? I'm building a Norse burial mound for my action figures. Want to help? Farewell, Commander Ozone. We hardly knew ye.
Okay, natural resources. You'll use that information to fill in that part of the graphic organizer. Definitely want to include renewable and non-renewable natural resources. Then the last one is natural hazards or natural disasters. And this is a naturally occurring event in a certain area that has a negative effect on people or the environment. Here are some examples of natural hazards. And again, these are caused by the earth. That's why they're called natural hazards. This wouldn't be something like pollution. Pollution is man-made hazard. These are natural disasters. So let's take a look at a short video, and you'll use this one to fill in the graphic organizer.
Hey, you ready? The sky is totally clear. Look outside. All right, but you were the one who was all into the idea of getting buried in the sand. Dear Tim and Moby, what are natural disasters and how do they happen? From Maritza. Well, that's a good question. Moby's claiming that a hurricane will ruin our beach day, but... All right. Natural disasters happen for different reasons. Some are weather-related, like hurricanes. These tropical storms form over the ocean, picking up speed and strength as they move over the water. If a hurricane hits land, its high winds and heavy rain can cause a lot of damage. Thunderstorms are a lot more common than hurricanes. The thunder can't hurt you, but lightning is a powerful form of electrical energy that you want to stay away from. I think we're pretty safe from lightning in the house. Tornadoes are the most violent storms that nature sends our way. With rotating funnel-shaped clouds and winds reaching 300 miles per hour, tornadoes can do a lot of damage to large areas. Winter storms bring snow, freezing rain, sleet, and temperatures that make you want to run indoors. They can cause icy conditions on roads, fallen power lines, and extreme cold. Right. Floods happen when land is covered in more water than it can absorb. Lots of things can bring about floods, including heavy rain, overflowing rivers, and even melting snow. A flood can mean a few inches of water in the basement or an entire house washed over. It's sort of the opposite of a drought when there's not enough water. Droughts are slower to develop, but the lack of water can devastate entire ecosystems. It is scary to think about. Sometimes these disasters can be predicted, giving people enough time to relocate. But there are also times when these things catch us off guard or are more powerful than people expect. Earthquakes are especially unpredictable. They happen along plate boundaries in the Earth's crust. When plates shift, the Earth shakes. Well, earthquakes vary in intensity, so you can't always feel them. Depending on how strong an earthquake is, it can cause a lot of damage or very little. When an earthquake occurs underwater, it can trigger a tsunami. These massive waves can travel as fast as 500 miles an hour. When they hit land, they can bring a lot of destruction. Some tsunamis are caused by underwater volcanoes, eruptions of hot molten rock from deep inside the Earth. Volcanoes are linked to plate activity too. When they erupt on land, their ash plumes and lava flows can do a lot of damage. Yeah, they can start wildfires, but those are more often caused by people or lightning. Wildfires happen a lot in dry areas. They move fast and are difficult to put out, especially if it's windy. I get what you're saying. These are natural disasters, and it may seem a little like the Earth is trying to kill us, but this is just the way the planet operates. Our planet has a lot of water on it, and it's constantly in motion, and that means droughts in one area and storms in another. Likewise, the Earth is very active geologically, and pressure from moving tectonic plates has to be released somewhere. Of course, none of that makes natural disasters any less scary. But we are getting better all the time at predicting these events. And governments and humanitarian agencies do a lot to help out whenever disaster strikes. At home, the best thing you can do is to make a family plan so that everyone in your family knows how to reach one another and where to go in case of an emergency. And make sure you have a ready kit of basic supplies you'll need in an emergency. Okay, right now I really want to go to the beach. Well, you can't always believe what the weather reports. But I guess it's always good to listen.
Okay, and there you have Earth's physical characteristics. Here's your graphic organizer again. Make sure you take time to fill it out completely and to the very best of your ability. And when this activity is done, maybe you can think those characteristics that you just took a look at, can you think how they would impact how people behave? And that's the next part of this unit. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and ask. And if you need to rewind at any point, go ahead and do that.